y'all do know that Shane was just jamming. Let's get it. Whoops.
The Sportz Nutz are back.
You are now listening to the Sportz Nutz.
All right, so I got to be honest. I actually got a little faked out there for a second because silly me looked at the computer and I see Matt and I'm like, oh God, Matt's in the screen. It's the introduction video. Only me. Yes, guys, we are back. Welcome everybody to the most exciting, most engaging, and of course, the best talk show ever. It is the Sportz Nutz. Man, does it ever feel good to be back with y'all again? It really is refreshing to see everybody. And, obviously we don't have Ben or Matt here tonight. Not surprised with Matt, but it's nice to be with everybody again and the fans. Real quick, let's give a warm welcome to everybody who is listening on 95.5 KFCE, TigerNation.live, and the other 8 radio stations we air on, plus the international audience from the 45 countries we air in. Thank you guys so much. We really do mean it. Thank you guys. We are beyond thrilled that we have our not good friend, but our great friend, Tony Gladstone. He is back for our weekly Tony call / Tony ball. Tony, man, dude, so good to see you as always. Welcome back. But then also, we are in the thick of good baseball. So Tony's going to talk to us about baseball. But Shane, man, happy hump day, as you call it. Obviously, a lot has transpired during your last couple weeks. How is everything going on your end, sir?
Well, it's good. I wish the little sister would get better quicker, but other than that, it's good. It's as you said, hump day. It's all downhill from here. Got a little bit of traveling to do this weekend for a good friend's wedding. So gonna enjoy that on Saturday, but Kara, she's starting to eat regular and stuff, so hopefully something soon will come to fruition where she'll be able to get home to those boys and all that good stuff, and be healed a little bit at least. So other than that, man, it's been great. Ready to get into this talk with Tony, man. It's MLB is really getting hot. So, ready for this.
Oh, yeah, y'all. Today's show is going to be fun for everybody. It's going to be engaging. And we are going to inform you the very best way possible. But, Tony, man, how's it? Happy to see you. So let's get into it. Now, we have sort of a little bit of a traffic jam at the number one spot right now between Atlanta, the Dodgers, the Dads, or Padres, whatever you want to call them, the Yankees, and the Reds. Out of those 5, Tony, who do you think begins to really separate themselves from the rest of the bunch?
I really like Atlanta. Love him or hate him, Alex Anthopoulos has done a decent job getting a roster together, and they haven't had the injury issues this year that they battled last year. I think that the Dodgers are still going to make noise and put pressure on the National League as well. But I really feel like right now the Braves are in the driver's seat, and that's where they want to be, especially with the way their schedule looks in through May. There's there's a few series that are actually just one of those things where as long as they keep their head on straight, they're going to be able to just gain momentum. And that puts them in a really successful position, because that means if they hit a stump in the road or whatever, they're going to have a lot more room to fail, if you will, and make sure that they can get right after make sure that they're right by the All-Star break. And then when they come back, just go full tilt like a Peterbilt and really, really hit the league hard with the talent that is on that roster.
I'm excited for the future. Shane, go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, well, Tony, as you mentioned, kind of the series that the Braves have coming up, still yet to lose one this year. They win tonight. They keep the streak alive for a little bit longer. But man, Tony, thanks again for joining us for our bi-weekly MLB catch up, as you would like to call it. But man, I'm going to tiptoe around this a little bit for you. Hopefully not make you too mad, but it is major MLB news. And, I know as a Red Sox fan, how passionate not only you are about them, but everybody else that pulls for them is. Man, with Alex Cora being let go and 5 other bench coaches, what direction do you see the Red Sox going in the future? Like, what are your potential kind of candidates for this upcoming next season? Or I mean, I don't know, possibly mid-season. I don't see it ever happening since they've got a guy that they trust there as the interim. But kind of what's your short list of coaching candidates for the Boston Red Sox coming up?
This is an interesting topic, and I think a lot of it is going to depend on the strategy that Craig Breslow has, which I do think comes down to a lot of analytics. He really, really likes analytics. And I think one of my personal topics would probably be Rob Thompson. He did a lot in Philly. There's a lot of people that are going to criticize him this year, but 4 consecutive playoff appearances, and he got that roster to a 2022 World Series appearance. I think that's more the consistent success that is expected in Boston, and so I think that could push him in the forefront of that field. David Ross is another one. He has experience with Breslow both on the field because they played together in Boston, and also in the office because they worked together in Chicago when Breslow was still an assistant GM. Rocco Baldelli, he was the Twins manager that got terminated. He has a great record with the Twins. He was fired because he didn't want to suck through a rebuild, and he was vocal about getting rid of talented guys. He also has some time on the Red Sox roster as a player, so I think that could put things in his direction. And Jason Varitek is another one that I think has a lot of potential as far as attention is concerned. He's got a lot of history in that locker room. And he's got a lot of respect both with the fans and with the guys in that locker room. And I think that could prove very important. Even Breslow respects him enough that he didn't fire him. He's just going to keep him and change positions. I think they could just be keeping him so that they can give him the position in the offseason and he has time to prepare to be a manager. That's all if Chad Tracy doesn't get the job, because he's already shown he can do it at a decent level. He has a lot of experience with these guys. 75% of the young guys have played for him. And that could mean something. So I think that the forefront for me is probably going to be David Ross or Rocco Baldelli, but Rob Thompson, Jason Varitek, and Chad Tracy also will have consideration.
I like that. Now we're already starting to see changes at the helm for several teams. With the newest move going with the Phillies, you just talked about how Shane mentioned with you with the Red Sox, but when do you think, and by the way, for people who don't know this, Tony puts out this MLB Morning Minute every morning, and it's fantastic. Him and I go back and forth heckling the Mets. But when do you think the Mets finally – look, Tony's laughing. When do you think the Mets finally make changes at the helm? Because, this is a crazy stat. Both the Phillies and the Mets have done it. There has never been a team this early who has double-digit losing streak like they did. Both of them had double-digit losing streaks. That have made the playoffs. So when do you think the Mets finally, say enough is enough and they move on at the managerial position?
This is an interesting question. I feel like Steve Cohen doesn't want to make a change in the season, and he probably wholeheartedly believes that they can recover. No one has made the postseason with a losing streak like that this early in the season. Means we can be the first. That type of guy. But with some decent names on the coaching carousel already, I think it happens at some point during or after the season either way. And I think some of this may depend on how organizations sees the issues. Like, where do they think the problem actually is? Is the problem actually with Lindor and Soto not getting along? Because I know that's been discussed. Is the hitting and pitching coaches not doing the right prep? Like how they view these issues internally, I think will have a big impact on it. But with names like Valdelli, Rob Thompson, Alex Cora, all on the coaching carousel for next year, it is entirely possible that I think it's probably more of a when, not if. But I don't think he finishes the season, or I don't think he finishes the season as a skipper. If he does, the day after, we're all going to get that tweet from Jeff Passan that they've moved on. It's that's how I see it at this point.
And it is the Mets, and everybody knows this so well, that the Mets are synonymous with collapse. And dadgum, they already started it right away. Let's go ahead and just start collapsing right now. I mean, the heck with wait until the middle part of the end of the season even. Let's just go ahead and do it right away. So, all right, Shane, go ahead, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, speaking of the Mets, a Crunchwrap Supreme right now is more than a ticket to the 500 at the game. So I believe they're online for $6, and the Crunchwrap Supreme's like $6.50 now. So definitely, if you want to go catch a game, however bad the baseball is, and you're in the New York area, it's a cheap event to go to. But man, Tony, I want to talk. We've had some noise early this year with some rookies. I mean, Murakami is right now leading the league in home runs, coming over from Japan. But I want to talk about a draft class. It's produced 10 players already this year. That have made their debut, and you would think that we'd be talking, 4 or 5 years, ago. No, this is the 2024 draft class. We saw who is it with Cleveland? Travis, I believe, first Australian, first pick overall in the draft. And then of course you got Connor Griffin. I'm not going to butcher his name, from the Blue Jays that started his first bout last night. But man, there's 10 of the top 20 picks have already made their debut. What are your what's the biggest upside of those 10, and why do you think that it's so early in their career that they've been up and they've been able to have success?
I think in Travis Bazzana, I think he looked really good. And there's a lot of potential in the Guardians, both in their farm system and in that organization as a whole. So I think he's actually in a really good place. And we look at some of the others that have come up out of that class. Like Nick Kurtz wasn't even really Nick Kurtz came up last season, and you don't really see guys come up like that. And I think that's like Jack Caglione was in that same draft class. There's so many guys that have come up, and I think a lot of it has to do with the game, because with football, when you go from high school to college, there is an intensity change for both the speed and the physicality, the strategy, all of those things increase. And then when you move to the NFL, it does it again. The same with basketball, but with baseball is baseball. And so the question for the minor leagues is, how quickly can you get to that next level that's going to put you in position to be able to be a pro level pitcher, a pro level hitter, all of that, because those are the things that make a difference. How quickly can you get to that point where your instincts at second or at short are lightning quick, and so you can have those out saving plays that your team needs? It's these guys that, with so many of these kids that were just basically, for lack of a better term, they were bred to be baseball players. You're going to see them come up quicker now. And I think there could come a day with position players where you're going to start seeing them come up from the draft, and the next year they're competing for a starting slot, like Connor Griffin was. And he's already been, and obviously Connor Griffin's already been called up and gotten extended and all of that. Like or you look at, Paul Skeens came up really quick. I think he wasn't even in the minor leagues for a full year before he was pitching a major league game. There is so much talent in the younger generation because they're bred for it. Like I said, I mean, you think about it, a lot of these kids that are coming up now, they didn't spend a lot of time in regular school because their parents figured out they could do more travel ball and gain more experience and get in front of more scouts if that kid does online school and they travel the country. And so, like, you've got families that are putting hundreds of thousands of dollars in investments every few years into getting their kid into this position. So if you have the right kid in that environment, they're going to come up a lot quicker. They have their good coaching. They get into a good coaching situation where they get drafted. It's just the snowball effect that makes it quicker. So I think that this class is just one of those that was just bred for it. And we're going to see it happen more frequently. And it's going to get to the point where I could see in 20 years, they're no longer being single A baseball or it being considered independent leagues.
Oh, wow. That's interesting to say that. So, Tony, with the renewed interest and focus on expansion, Manfred recently did say that he wants to expand more before he leaves office. Now, here's what's really interesting is Vancouver has come out and said they're going to push for a team. They recently passed a funding bill of $700 million for a new stadium and have also secured an additional $450 million in private sector funding, plus the potential for more revenue coming in or money coming in from the potential owners. Now, we know that the consensus is that Nashville or Salt Lake or even both will be the first cities to get an MLB expansion. But what are the odds that you think that we will see Vancouver in the mix and awarded an MLB franchise in the coming years?
A lot of cities want MLB teams and can have a group of investors that are prepared to help with a stadium and all of those things that are needed to have infrastructure for that team. But do they have the economy within that city to support a team? I think if that question, that question is probably more of why the A's aren't in Oakland, because that city is really struggling financially. And so and now, of course, obviously the owner of the Athletics is partly to blame in that scenario, but the city doesn't have as good of an economy because of how high the cost of living is there to support that team, with the fact that there's a lot of lower wage individuals that are there. So I feel like if Vancouver had an economy like that, then MLB would already have them on their radar and they would be on the short list. That short list right now is Salt Lake, like you said, Salt Lake City and Nashville, Orlando, and I've heard Raleigh as well. I'm not sure that Raleigh is really there, but I've heard it mentioned a lot, so there's got to be some purpose behind that. And I think that all four of those cities get teams, whether it's through expansion or teams moving, before we see Montreal or Vancouver get before we see another team in Canada in some fashion, whether it's Montreal, Vancouver, or something else.
Oh, wow. I like that. Shane, go ahead.
Oh, yes, Evan. Well, I don't want to get on the Red Sox too hard, but I want to talk about a player here. The Boston's closer, reliever, Aroldis Chapman, now has 1,341 career strikeouts, second all-time passing goose goosage. Only about 23 Ks away from surpassing the all-time reliever record for strikeouts in the MLB. My question for you is, do you think that happens this year? And what are your thoughts on Chapman's career as a whole? Is it Hall of Fame worthy or what?
I think that it happens this year. I mean, just if you think already this season, he's had 10 strikeouts. So, and some of these are just games where he wasn't as good as he should have been. So I think that in and of itself is telling that we're going to see another 23, especially being only like 28, 29 games into the season. So for that, I definitely think it's possible. Hall of Fame worthy, I think the bar kind of moves for relievers based on how well they're liked. And I think that could be where Aroldis Chapman sees a struggle. I think he's most likely to get in from the committees that happen after you've been on the traditional ballot for 10 years. But with the fact that he's been a lot better with the media in Boston, and Boston is not an easy media market, we all know that. I think that could prove to move things into his favor where he does. I think he deserves to be a Hall of Fame reliever, or a Hall of Fame closer, because he's a tremendous talent. And I'm not just saying that as a Red Sox fan. If you look at his record in previous years, even when he was miserable with the Yankees, he had a season in 2019. He had 37 saves in a year. He didn't really play during the COVID season that much, so we can't judge that. So the following full season, he did 30 again. He actually had with the 3 full seasons that he played between 2018 and 2021. He had 30 or more saves in each of those seasons, and that means he came out at least half the time. At least half the time he got the save. That's a very reliable stat. And some of those times I would assume he wasn't even used as a closer; it was as a reliever. So I think that number is even small, but his ERA has actually gotten better over the years. In what would be considered the prime of his career between 2019 and 2023, his ERA was always 2.5 or above. He had one season where it was over 4, 2 seasons where it was over 3. So, but now we look at the last 2 years. Last year he had a 1.17, and that was over 67 appearances. And then this year, he still just has a 1.04. He's only given up 1 run in 9 games. Like those are some really good stats, especially for a guy that is getting up there in age. He's 38 already. And that to me says he's got 1 to 2 years left, maybe 3 if he's really taking care of himself. But he's already put up tremendous numbers. I don't see a reason why he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, but how well the media likes him is the question.
I still remember him hitting that 109 mile per hour fastball. I remember that. The first time
for an arm.
Yeah, the first time ESPN mentioned that it's like they were doing double takes and triple, like, was this real? This was a real number that popped up. Yeah, it was 109 miles an hour. He had an arm, of course.
He's not called the missile for nothing.
Yeah, and it has caught up to him with obviously having to have Tommy John, but I mean, he still is a valuable asset. I think I honestly agree with you right there, Tony. I think he deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. Shane, I believe it too, because every player puts their impact on the game in some sort or manner. And it's just how they put that lasting impact. People sit there and say Pete Rose, because he gambled, doesn't deserve one bit to go to the Hall of Fame. Pete Rose did things that nobody has up until now has been able to emulate. He did what he did during the time that was one of the hardest times to really understand the style of play that he did. So absolutely, he put a lasting impact on the game today. So he regardless if you like the fact that he gambled or not, he still is one heck of a player of all time. He was a great hitter, so he deserves that. Same thing with Shoeless Joe Jackson. People say he doesn't deserve it because of this and this. Shoeless Joe did his thing during that time. Same thing with Aroldis Chapman. An example. How many pitchers do you guys know can throw 109 miles an hour? I only know really of one, and that's him. And it's been a long time since then, but the dude revolutionized pitching in the sense for what he has been able to do. So he deserves it 100%. So Tony, my last question for you with me is: we saw UCLA really take the reins in college baseball. We did mention it recently that UCLA, UNC, even Georgia Tech could be favorites to win in Omaha. Who do you think can make their way all the way to Omaha and even win the College World Series?
I do think that UCLA is the obvious choice, but I'm going to throw this out there, and I hate to say this as somebody that lives in the Midwest and despises the state, but I actually think that Texas has been really consistent this year. And I think that if we're not going to see UCLA close it out and kind of flounder out like Houston in the NCAA tournament or Astros in any time they make it to the postseason in baseball, the Braves when they make it to the postseason in baseball normally, like they're just that floundering out. If that happens, then who do we look at? I think that Texas, Georgia Tech, and North Carolina are your obvious choices at that point. But I don't know. I like Texas.
I like it. Shane, go ahead, man.
Oh yeah, well that UNC Coastal Carolina matchup last night was a pretty good one that they had on. So that could be a possible Omaha sneak peek or a super regional sneak peek for all you fans out there for sure. But Tony, I know we talked you and Brandon a little bit about the hot teams in the major leagues, but I kind of want to focus in on some of those surprises. I know we've kind of touched on some here or there, but teams as a whole that kind of surprised you this year, be it on the hot side, be it on the cold side, either one. What are kind of your standouts so far this year as far as the surprise teams?
I think a lot of people are going to look to the Athletics as one of the biggest surprises.
Can you warm some sweet tea?
However, I've called it on this show. I called the Athletics making some noise this year. They've got better. They got a lot of young talent. I think the Angels are honestly more surprising to me. They've kind of struggled recently, but they did start the season really well. And if that comes back even at 75% of what they were in that period, I think the Angels are a team that at least finishes with a winning record. The Braves surprised me. I mean, just because I know I even said on the show that I thought they were going to do a lot better this season, but how they've started the season, I think is really telling to their success. And I talk about this a lot on my show because one of my favorite stats when evaluating teams in baseball is run differential. How many more runs are you scoring than you're allowed? Because that shows a good balance of the reliability of your pitching and your hitting. At least in my opinion, it's kind of just a brief snapshot overview. And the Braves run differential at plus 68. And that doesn't include the game that they're playing right now. Is actually better than the Dodgers. And outside of the Dodgers, no other team is above 35. Or no, I'm sorry, the Yankees are at 47. So they're basically 20 ahead of any team that's not the Dodgers. And that to me, and when you think about how great the Yankees pitching is and some of the vaunted hitters that they have on that lineup, you would think it should at least be the other way around. And so for me to see how strong for Atlanta this year, I think that to me is honestly a really big surprise. And then, of course, there's going to be some talk about the Reds because the owner doesn't care about winning, so why should the team? Those guys still want to win. They've still got Ellie De La Cruz. But the fact that they're 19-10 this year and they're, despite their struggles, are doing a good job of scoring more runs than they're allowing. They're 10-3 on the road. So that means they're going into other people's houses and contested environments and just getting stuff done. That to me says a lot about the Reds. And I think that they could definitely keep pressing the Cubs for the top of that division if they keep it up, and there's only one game that separates them right now.
His name is Tony Gladstone. He goes by 7. Tony, man, it has always been a pleasure to have you on. Can you quickly let everybody know when your next episode podcast Name Deferred is on? Also, when people can see the next episode, because you're part of the Wire to Wire Network. Can let everybody know when's the next time they will see you there as well?
So I podcast Name Deferred tonight, 10 p.m. Eastern on all Wire to Wire Sports Networks. Or you can go to our Facebook page, and also the episodes are available next day on Spotify. I only have one faithful listener on Spotify, but somebody listens to it, so I'll keep doing it because it doesn't take that long to upload it. We are going to be talking tonight about the coach firings, along with doing a breakdown of what's going on in Seattle and trying to understand why that team has fallen apart. And then I will be on the Sports Report again Monday night, 10 p.m. Eastern, again on all Wire to Wire Sports Networks. We are always have a good time there. That's definitely a show where you make sure the kids are in bed before you watch, because we get weird.
Wordies.
And it's just fun. It's a dirty show. Like, you're gonna need to take your bedtime shower after anyway. So like just plan accordingly. And then the MLB Morning Minute every day on our Facebook page. Also, I have an MLB Morning Minute YouTube channel that I officially posted the first video on this morning for today's Morning Minute. So if you're a YouTube person, just search MLB Morning Minute and you'll be able to find each day's short. I usually have them updated by about 9:30 to 10:30 Eastern is usually about when it happens. And then, show us some love and we'd love to hear what the stuff that you want to hear us talk about, because I am the person that talks the most. I don't have the most ideas, so any input you guys have just makes my job easier.
Absolutely. And we will have you on, not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. We'll have you on, man. Tony, thank you so much for coming on, and we'll talk to you soon, brother, all right?
Y'all have a good night.
You too, man.
Thank you.
Oh, man, it's always good to see our guy, Tony. Shane and I we always have a blast with him. So let's talk a little bit about this. And we already have somebody who is biting at the bullet to talk about this. He's kind of mentioned it already with regards to, as you see, he's talking about the fact that Vancouver is who we're going to talk about. There is a big shakeup coming in the MLS in the way of a team forcefully being relocated. It is the Vancouver Whitecaps. They are most likely done in Vancouver. The Whitecaps don't really have to worry so much about the fact of attendance, because they lead the league in attendance. They don't have to worry about money, but here's what they do have to worry about. They don't earn it because they have to spend so much giving it away in taxes and fees. And it's basically political in nature, which we're not going to talk about politics, so we don't talk about here, but the cities listed as potential targets for relocation are, and they're in this order, okay? Number 5 is Sacramento. Number 4 is Indianapolis. Number 3 is Detroit. Number 2 is Phoenix. However, the number 1 spot, it is Las Vegas. They've even already designated funds out for this. And this is a big moment. So, Shane, I don't know if you know much about the Vancouver Whitecaps. They've been around since 1970. They've been in Vancouver since the early 70s. This team has they sell out almost every game, if not every game. John will allude to this too. And it's getting more and more and more and more ridiculous by the minute. If you go look on Twitter, you will see story after story after story after story, and it's been officially approved that they are relocating. The only place that has been like the consistent favorite, though, it is Las Vegas. What are your thoughts on this this situation going on in Vancouver, Shane? And also, Vancouver is not any stranger to losing professional franchises. Remember, the Vancouver Grizzlies, they're now Memphis. And yes, there's talks that they're considering bringing back a professional basketball team in Vancouver. But what are your thoughts on this whole situation as a whole, Shane?
Man, well, this is very surprising news, especially here considering that, the Whitecaps are one of the best teams in the MLS right now. And as you mentioned, that their attendance, kind of speaks for themselves. But, we all know Canada is more expensive to live at, and also I don't know where it's going, but obviously they have the support. So extremely surprising in my book about this relocation news. But as far as city targets go for the next relocation, of course Vegas is in there. I mean, they're an automatic city almost in any potential professional market right now. Mm-hmm. For a team coming in. We've seen how the teams that have moved there have done and prospered, and we're going to see many more professional leagues follow in those footsteps. But the two cities I like is Phoenix and Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a very underrated sports city. We saw what they did last year, setting attendance records in the WNBA. What they average over almost 20,000 a game for the first time ever in the WNBA. The Colts have a following there that's real strong, but I could see that being a city that the MLS would focus on. And Phoenix, it just feels like the right fit to me. Kind of you get away from the Vegas and all the professional teams going there. This kind of feels like a city that needs a MLS team. They've got plenty of room to grow in that Phoenix Scottsdale area. Definitely a viable plausibility for them to actually have an arena and a following down there. But still regionally, it fits in the West. They're with the teams in the Western Conference. So that's just one that I think would be a good fit. But man, it's very surprising, and I can tell you, I mean, as we talk about all the time, expansion is happening across the board, and we're going to talk about more of it tonight because, as I mentioned to Brandon before we got on tonight, it's like, hey, every topic's really about expansion in these different leagues that we're talking about. So welcome to the expansion show, guys.
I'm going to bring someone in just a second, and he's going to give us his his unbiased opinion. And I promise you guys, we have him on all the time. You guys love him. All right, John, I got to hear your thoughts. First off, welcome, man. It's good to see you as always. But dude, what in the world is going on? Like, I mean, dude, you know this too, because first off, I text John religiously everything that comes up on my my Twitter about soccer. And John, tell everybody, how many things have I sent you about this whole situation with the Vegas Whitecaps?
Yeah, I honestly, Brandon, this is a joke. It really is. MLS is basically capitalizing on the situation, how bad it is in Vancouver with the ownership right now, and the city knows it. They have begged and implored local people to come step forward. Now, there is talks, Brandon, that there is someone in the wings ready to swoop in should no other options come in, but that's a rumor. We don't know that for sure. I want to also point out to those who are saying that Vegas is a great market for MLS. You don't even support your own USL team.
I was just about to say that. You hit the nail on the head. They don't support USL, but why would they suddenly support an MLS franchise? Is it just because, John, that you see the Las Vegas Aces, you have the Las Vegas Raiders, you have the soon-to-be Las Vegas Athletics, and then you are potentially bringing in an NBA franchise? Is it that's just the only reason why? What do you think is the real reason why they're bringing this to Vegas?
It's the money. Let's be honest, Brandon. It's money. Because MLS knows the market they can get with Vegas and how much promotion they can get out of it. There's already people on Twitter, Brandon, that the group has come out and said, we are going to make this franchise much better than ever will be in Canada. And I disagree strongly with that, but that's just me, because how can you make this team better when it is already runners-up in the MLS Cup, which they have never won, number one. Number two, they are already second in the West, well, first in the West, and probably one of the better teams in MLS right now as we speak, despite this insanity. So I don't know if you can make them much better than they are right now as an ownership group. And not only do you get rid.
Think about this.
Sorry, go ahead, Brandon.
No. You know this is insane, man. Like, and first off, also, folks, in case you did miss the math on there, this team has been in Vancouver for 52 years. Exactly. I can guarantee you a wide variety of people who are watching this they either grown up watching Whitecaps their entire lives, or they just don't know much about it. So, and it's really this is absolutely the most ridiculous thing. It's frustrating.
Brandon, this is also if you are an MLS fan, you know what Cascadia Cup is. It is the rivalry between Vancouver, Seattle, and Portland. It is the fiercest rivalry, in my opinion, in MLS. These teams play each other every season for the right to hold the Cascadia Cup. And if Vancouver leaves, it's gone. I'm sorry. You ruined the best rivalry in MLS. And all for what? because no one's going to come forward locally and or even not locally and just support this club. And it breaks my heart for their fans because these fans are doing everything they can. The mayor is doing everything he can, and yet MLS is just, nah, we're good. And then fans are just going behind it like it's no big deal.
Yeah, and they also said that, there was an interview recently that was asking what would it take to keep the Whitecaps in Vancouver? And the mayor came out and said there's nothing they can do it because nobody's coming forward with that. No one's coming forward with the money that is a sexy enough offer to get them on there, and it's frustrating,
It is, and this is because MLS runs on franchises, Brandon. I cannot stress this enough. They run on franchises. The more money they get, the better. And that's why San Diego came in. That's why when David Beckham and Inter Miami came in, they were accepted. They had a great chunk of change. And yet
this
Vancouver,
also
because
the
they
favorite dollar.
Yeah. And because you have star ownership in David Beckham, you can get it in Miami. And yes, I want this league to grow, Brandon, as much as anyone. I want this league to get better. But you have to keep teams like Vancouver. I know change happens.
But you
change
said
at
this too,
some point.
John, that this is a core team. And you got to keep the core.
This is a team, Brandon. MLS wasn't even around when the Whitecaps were around. That was the NASL. So this wasn't the North American Soccer League. So this wasn't even an MLS team at first. This was before that was even existing. So just miss me with the fact that Canadian teams belong to the Canadian Premier League only. That's my take.
No, hey, nothing wrong with that. His name is John. He is with the Pitch Grid podcast. John, real quick before we let you go, let everybody know when they can find your next episode, please, sir.
Absolutely, Brandon. If you want to find us and hear more takes and conversations about soccer and football, you can always find us on YouTube at Pitch Grid Pod. We're also on Spotify and Apple under the Pitch Grid Pod. We also have a TikTok and Instagram and all the great social medias that you know and love. You can find us there. We're gonna have a conversation with Matt Pullen of FC Naples up this coming weekend. That was a very good conversation, which I enjoyed. And I'm definitely going to probably put out my thoughts on Vancouver probably tomorrow or Friday. So if you want my full in-depth thoughts, go there, support the channel, and thank you, Brandon, so much for having me on.
Yeah, man. Dude, always. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll talk to you soon, all right? Sound good, man?
Sounds good, brother. Peace.
All right, see ya. All right, so see, there you guys have that was another outsider's take and perspective on this. This is a very fluid situation going on. Please check out my guy John at the Pitch Grid if you want to have more in-depth conversations. All right, so Shane, something really cool happened with the Professional Women's Hockey League. It hit a major milestone this past season, record, and I literally mean record-setting growth. This is partially the reason why they did come out and announce that they are expanding the Professional Women's Hockey League over the next 10 years by 15 to 20 teams. So which city, Shane, are you looking forward to possibly, excuse me, let me rephrase that. Which cities or city would you like to see join the Professional Women's Hockey League world? And why did you choose those teams, to be precise?
Well, I didn't really nail down any cities. With the major expansion that they're talking about, there's kind of too many to list. So I didn't really focus in on the cities per se in general. But man, first off, congratulations to the Professional Women's Hockey League on this announcement. It's really great to see women's sports of any kind grow the way that we've seen in the past couple of years. When you talk about cities and you're looking at these expansions and stuff like that, You're going to look into current cities with NHL teams that are profitable and have a good following, and then you're going to kind of branch out to the ECHL cities and the AHL cities at that point, because there's already a kind of a core fandom there for the sport of hockey, and we've seen it grow throughout with the majority of these minor league hockey teams and their expansions. But definitely great to hear. But definitely look at the cities that have a strong hockey following to be those in contention, and have that, we all talk about it, the money and the capability to be able to host these events, and the city has to be able to do it as well. So definitely something great to see, but we'll be very interested where they plan on expanding, especially as much as they plan on expanding in the next 10 years.
And just so you guys know, also, we are diligently working on getting somebody from the league or even one of the teams in Boston or Minnesota, more specifically, to come on the show. We are working really hard. So just stay tuned for that one. We should get somebody coming on soon. Just want to let you guys know. All right. So Shane, the CFL, yes, the Canadian Football League has announced, and this is announced, and they are expanding to 2 more cities. Now, the NBA has announced they're going to expand to at least 2 more cities as well. NHL has announced they're going to expand by 2 more cities. So the next question is, who is the next 2 to make that jump? Does the NFL expand? If so, where would everyone like to see the NFL expand to? The WNBA has already announced they're expanding by 2 more cities in Orlando Magic. So if you haven't figured out, there's a trend here. Every league seems to be expanding by 2s. So what leagues additionally would you like to see grow as well? Now, Shane, this is a 2-part question for you. The first one is when do you think the NFL expands? And the second one is, with other leagues announcing expansion, how many more teams do you think will potentially grow in the CFL? Now, the 2 teams that they're announcing, one of them is going to be the Patriots, I'm drawing a blank where it's at, but they have 2 additional teams. I think one of them is going to be Nova Scotia, if I'm not mistaken. One of them is coming as well. But what other 2 would you like to possibly see in the Canadian Football League? And when do you think the NFL expands by 2? Because I think everybody wants to expand by 2, right?
Oh yeah, well, I kind of took this as a true professional league expansion kind of question and topic. I mean, as everybody out there knows, you just talked about it with Tony, Brandon. The one league I want to see expand 2 more teams is going to be the MLB.
Yes.
But I kind of took a kind of deep dive into it and kind of said, if I were commissioners and owners, what would I really think would be a feasible and viable option for a professional league, be it expansion, startup, anything like that. So definitely you got to look at the fan interest and the revenue with the certain sports in these certain areas and cities that they're looking to expand to. But man, I think it should be in a set group. That 8, 12, 16. Kind of keeping multiples of 4 here going until you get to that maybe the 30 range for a year or 2, like the MLB is, but then 32 and 36. I think once you get past that 36 team limit, when it comes to a league in general, you start losing some of the game, like the love for the game and everything else like that. It becomes really
oversaturated, right?
Oversaturation, and I think that's what we got when we saw the WNBA take off when it first did. The way that they oversaturated the market, which in all honesty, we as a fan base, weren't really ready for that kind of scale. So, it kind of avoids that. But man, any expansion in any league is great progress to what you're looking to do. But man, there's multiple places that you can actually, think of that NFL teams or MLB teams or National Women's Soccer League teams. You can think about this expansion in general, and there's multiple cities that would probably support that as of now, just because of the it's gotten so easy to do everything. I mean, there's venues used for multiple different things now. Like one night they could host a hockey game, next night it's a basketball game, the next night it's a concert, the next night they do monster trucks.
Yeah.
So
Tale of many hats.
yeah. So there's definitely availability to do it, but it's going to be interesting to see how all these professional leagues kind of navigate the rough waters that expansion actually is.
And just so everybody know, I found the team. So the Canadian Football League is expanding to Halifax, which is Nova Scotia, and then also to Quebec City. So it'll be in the two teams, the two cities will be joining the CFL by 2030. So yes, those are the teams that are expanding. Shane did allude to this is a show about expansions today. So the UFL has come out and provided a list of locations where they want to do what, Shane? Expand. That's right. They want to talk about expansion in the coming years, and the list is pretty extensive. Actually, I did not add the picture on. I apologize, but this is the list, and this is a true list. Look at the cities on there. You're talking about Albuquerque on there, but there's one little city, if I can find it, right there, Honolulu, Hawaii. And then now we already know that Oklahoma City will be expanding to the UFL in 2028. So the one city that I do know also is potentially going to happen, because our good friend Linda Fihoko and told me about this, is that they're working diligently to get a UFL expansion franchise in Honolulu, Hawaii, which got me thinking about the last time there was a quote unquote professional team in Hawaii. Shane, what do you think their name was when there was a professional football team there?
The hula dancers.
No. So, do you know who Neil Everett is, right? He's with Sports Center. He used to say, "How's it?" every time he came onto the Sports Center.
Yeah.
He is from the state of Hawaii.
I'm good with faces, not names.
So Neil Everett is big in the state of Hawaii. Still does a lot of stuff with him. He's been retired for a long time. Well, a lot of times he would say Hawaii's favorite team name is the Islanders. They like to cheer on the New York Islanders because it's the Islanders. There used to be a team called the Honolulu Islanders, which were a minor league baseball team. The Islanders name has been synonymous, obviously, with Hawaii. Well, guess what I happened to find? And Linda confirmed that there's a real possibility that this team name comes back. It would be the Honolulu Hawaiians. That was literally their real helmet, and that was their jersey, and that was their logo. That's King Kamehameha. So the Honolulu Hawaiians, that's a great name, by the way. So yes, we could be seeing even more expansion. We're really excited to talk about that, so stay tuned. And I will tell you this for a fact, we're working really hard to get somebody from the UFL too. So really excited to see that there are teams that are going to expand. We were going to go a little more in depth, but because of time, we don't want to run too far into it. So we will talk again more about this later on in another episode. But now comes one of our favorite segments. It is the Sports Story segment. This segment is where we all give you sports stories. Everybody who is affiliated with the show, when they're on, gives us a sports story. Shane has one. I have one. If Matt were here, Matt would have one, and then Ben as well. So Shane, tell everybody your sports story, please.
Well, I'm going to tell my sports story about an incredible journey. With many sports stories, I like to give one of those feel-good stories, and I found one in this past week's draft that might raise a couple eyebrows. But as you know, playing football, you always dream of hearing your name called on draft day, as early as you can remember, if you love the sport. But man, Zach Durfree had an incredible journey that was completely uh, different, to say the least, from everybody's picture, going from pee wee ball to high school ball to college to the pros. Uh, and Zach broke his leg doing a sideways flip at a summer camp, and missed his senior season of football, which kind of derailed his chances of scholarships where he lived at and stuff. But it was a pretty decent basketball player as well. But got a scholarship offer to go play D3 ball at let me see, Gustavus Adolphus College in St. Paul, Minnesota. And then COVID hit. So that kind of shut down everything. And so he transferred to North Dakota State to be a kind of a more normal student, asked to walk on there, but with COVID restrictions, was not allowed. And so he came back. He missed the scheduling and everything that everybody gets used to if they've ever played a sport. But came back home and took a semester off, decided what he was going to do, sent some highlights out to some colleges, and ended up walking on D2 school, Sioux Falls. His first game there, he had 4 sacks in 23 snaps. So it was kind of all a whirlwind from there. Eventually transferred to the University of Washington, where through transfer rules and injury, didn't play in many games, but was a projected 5th, 6th round grade this year. Didn't hear his name called in those draft rounds. So then the calls started coming in from a couple organizations of, hey, if you're not selected, this is our player atmosphere. We want to sign you as a undrafted free agent kind of deal. And as he's on the phone with the one that he thought that he would go with, 904 number shows up in the area code and says, "Hey, sorry, I've got to take this call." And it's the defensive coordinator for the Jacksonville Jaguars, letting him know that in the 7th round with the 233rd pick that they were going to call his name. Then got on the phone with Coach Cohen, and kind of all the rest of the history is waiting to be written from there. But definitely an incredible and strange journey, going from a basketball recruit at a D3 school to drafted in the span of 5 years or so.
I like that story. I thought you were going to honestly mention, I don't know if you heard about the story too, about the wide receiver who started out at the Division I level and had to go all the way down to D2, then went to D3, led the league and led Division III in receiving yards, did not get drafted, got invited, and then signed. Then earlier this week, he signed a fully guaranteed 3-year contract with, I believe it's the LA Rams. I can't remember off the top of my head, but it was just a really cool story. He was the only D3 wide receiver ever to be invited to the NFL Combine. That's how good of this player was. He actually didn't even play football. He played basketball. So that's why I was thinking when you mentioned he played basketball. His best friend said they were out in the backfield throwing the football. He was like, "Man, you really did play football. You're going to be good." And he's like, "You think so?" He's like, "No, I know so." And he ended up leading the entire Division III with like 1,100 yards his junior year and almost 2,000 yards total his career in D3. Congratulations to him getting to be to live out his dream playing NFL. And Shane, I like that story. It's really good. My sports story is the Atlanta Braves are on their best start in 26 years. They're 21-9, and they are still on pace to win 114 games if they keep this up. And Atlanta is in first place in the division. It's the largest division lead in the entire league, by the way, folks. They're like 6 games or more above Miami is the next team behind them. They're in first place in almost every statistical category there is for the league. They are doing absolutely amazing. They're on fire. If this team stays healthy, they absolutely can and will challenge the buy here, pay here Dodgers for the best team And also, they could win the World Series. Now, here's the cool thing also, and I'm pretty sure you saw this announcement as well, Shane. They're starting to get all their injured players back. Spencer Strider starts next Tuesday. He's back. Hurston Waldrop is getting ready to start his rehab stint in Rome, and then we'll make it to Columbus, and then finish in Gwinnett, and then we'll come. I mean, literally everybody that started the season on the IL is coming back. This is the best start Atlanta has had in 30 games ever. Literally in the entire. What I read was it's the best 30 game start for an MLB team since the mid 1990s. And the last time that the Braves started this hot, this early, it was the 99-2000 season. Everybody knows that they fell short in the World Series. Obviously, they didn't make it all the way. They made it to the first round of the divisional, and then they lost. They got swept in the divisional round. But then if you look back further, the last time they started out this hot as well was the 95 team, and everybody knows that's the team that won the World Series. So shout out to the Atlanta Braves. That is our sports story. The Atlanta Braves, they could be destined for greatness this season. And now comes our favorite segment. It is the I clicked the button and that's why it bleeped real quick. But yes, it is the honorable mentions. What we do is we give you 2 to 5 sports stories that the mainstream media doesn't cover. But you know what we do, because it's in our DNA. We are the Sports Nuts. We're nuts about sports. My first honorable mention goes out to the fact that Adam Silver said in a recent interview during the Raptors-Cavs game that the NBA is going to have open discussions this offseason about expanding more teams in Canada. Again, Shane has already alluded to y'all. This is the expansion episode of the Sports Nuts. But yes, the cities that have been that he did mention, and this was him mentioning it on the interviews. Vancouver, boy, we're talking about Vancouver a lot. Ottawa, Saskatchewan, Montreal, and also Quebec City. Yes, Montreal, Quebec are the same, but they're not. So, but we'll see if this happens. But yes, Adam Silver has said they are wanting to expand the game of basketball more to the northern border fans up in Canada. We already see it's a very prosperous team in Toronto. I mean, I'd be okay seeing other teams up there. Obviously we know that the possibility if they bring Vancouver back, Vancouver better have a better sound head on their shoulders, because they didn't care about the Vancouver Grizzlies. The Grizzlies go to Memphis, and the rest is history on that one. Shane, give us your first honorable mention, please.
Oh, yeah. Well, one of our regulars, Coach Vince, is going to love this first honorable mention. And my shout-out is going to go to the Michigan Wolverines and their football program. The streak is still alive, guys. It makes 88 straight years that a Michigan football player has been selected in the NFL draft. This is virtually from the inception of the NFL draft in 1938-39, I do believe. So definitely a streak that not many people hear about, but is definitely noteworthy. So shout out Michigan Wolverines and that 88 straight year streak of getting a player drafted to the NFL.
I like it. My second honorable mention goes out to the Las Vegas Raiders for what they did. There was a field goal kicker who taught himself to be a kicker and also to speak English, all off the wonderful site that you're watching us probably right now, and that's YouTube. Who am I talking about? In fact, he mirrored his entire kicking style after Jason Elam and a few other kickers. Yes, the one, the only, the Tokyo Toe, Kensei Matsuzawa. I know I probably butchered his last name, but Kensei is a signature staple in the state of Hawaii. He didn't miss a single PAT or field goal this past season in the University of Hawaii, and also only missed like 2 his entire career, which is insane to think about because he taught himself the kick. But yeah, he actually said he mirrors his entire game after the greats like Jason Elam, who actually went to the University of Hawaii as well, and just a few others on there. But he did not hear his name called during the draft, and that's understandable. But he was signed as an undrafted free agent with the Raiders. signed a 3-year, fully guaranteed. Everybody gets 3-year deals, but it was a fully guaranteed contract with the Raiders the other day, meaning he is officially going to be on an NFL roster for at least the next 2 seasons. It is guaranteed, whether it's either on the practice squad or on an active roster. He will be on he'll be on a roster. The entire state of Hawaii, the entire Pacific Rim, we're all cheering him on. Congratulations to the Tokyo Toe. That's Kensei Matsuzawa, also known again as the Tokyo Toe. Shane, give us your next honorable mention, please.
Well, my second honorable mention is going to come from way back in the archives. I dug deep on this one. I saw it the other day and was like, man, this is too good to pass up. But on August 10th, 1944, while the Second World War was going on, the Boston Braves faced off against the Cincinnati Reds at a game there, a night game at Crosley Park. Man, Red Barrett, who threw for the Boston Braves, threw 9 innings of shutout ball, 2-hit shutout ball. In this effort, he had 0 Ks and 0 walks. But it was only a 2-hit game. The Boston Braves ended up winning 2-0. But this all occurred in a MLB record for a 9-inning game, 58 pitches. And also a MLB record of a 1 hour and 15 minutes of total game time.
You're just sitting down by that time the game's over with.
Yeah. A lot of fans didn't even get to finish their first beer before this one was done. But one I found way back in the archives and just thought it was too good not to mention.
I dig it, actually. I like that. My third honorable mention goes out to the WNBA, as we literally are only 2.5 weeks, to be exact, away from the regular season right now. It's the preseason. Shout out to the Atlanta Dream. They're mollywopping the Chicago Sky 73 to 59. No, I'm sorry, not mollywopping. I read it wrong. 73 to 69. Yes, the game is almost over, but shout out to the Atlanta Dream. But yes, we get to see the 2 newest WNBA franchises also get underway this year. It is the Portland Fire. I'm having a hard time talking. And the Toronto Temple. And next season, more team startup. But also, shout out goes to the Houston franchise. They are bringing back the Houston WNBA franchise. They will not be having the Houston Comets name due to a naming rights issue with a rapper of. I'm not going to mention them because they don't sponsor us. But the story's on. You can find it on YouTube or on ESPN. But they have started a name the team contest. Now, obviously, it stinks that we're not going to see the name the Houston Comets because they were synonymous with the success from the very get-go with the WNBA. But stay tuned. You're going to see a really cool name start with the Houston franchise. But yes, WNBA basketball officially gets underway in just 2.5 weeks. Shane, give us your third honorable mention, please.
Well, my third honorable mention is going to come from the pitch. I know John's gonna enjoy this one. But Sunday, Mathis Albert, a 16-year-old kid from Greenville, South Carolina, made his and I'm probably going to say it wrong, but Bundesliga debut, breaking Giovanni Reina's record of being the youngest American to play in professional soccer for Dortmund, who also Reina played for. So definitely great to see, and a local kid at that. So shout out to Greenville, shout out to Mathis Albert for making that debut and breaking that record as a 16-year-old.
Look, John just said, yes, Shane, I love this. We knew it was going to happen, so that's why I love it. My fourth and final honorable mention goes out to the Atlanta Hawks and what they have actually done this season. Now, if Atlanta does win their next game, then there will be a best of 7. It will actually be a full 7-game series. But they are down 3-0 against the Knicks. But you still got to tip your caps to what is transpiring for the Atlanta Hawks. You know, a lot of people thought this was a washout season already in the regular season. That's how you say it. And the Atlanta Hawks are they're doing amazing things. So shout out to the Atlanta Hawks. Shane, give us your fourth and final honorable mention, please.
Well, my last honorable mention is going to go out to Carson Hocevar and winning his first NASCAR Cup Series race. Dega is a crazy race, especially when you get down to the end. You know, sometimes 4 or 5 wide at 190, 200 mile an hour. But man, he's been one of those fast guys, and has been on the cusp of winning a race. He is, you know, kind of mentioned as that kind of throwback driver. You know, and I'll go ahead and give a second honorable mention in this one. Shout out upstairs, happy birthday to the man in black, Mr. Dale Earnhardt.
Happy birthday, sir.
Yeah. Happy birthday. But as people have made comparisons to him, and many of the tops in the game now, say Denny Hamlin and all, are thinking that this is only the start for this young man. But definitely, if you haven't seen it, go watch his celebration of that victory. Rode down the whole front stretch of Talladega while sitting outside the window of the car, driving it down, and got right there near the start finish line, put it up to the wall, and did a burnout while sitting on the side of the car as well. So,
yeah, I saw that. That was weird too. How he did that.
Did that kind of in reminiscence of Dale Earnhardt at Richmond, outside on the window, going down the track, wiping off his windshield.
So being compared to him, and he's doing exactly. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I dig that. That's awesome.
So shout out Carson Hocevar, and definitely going to be exciting to watch the rest of the season for him.
Absolutely. Don't mind the screaming you guys might hear. My daughter Aspen is screaming because she wants to go see what mommy's doing. So just to let everybody know. Hey, real quick, we do need to give a special shout out. We have a couple shout outs we got to do. The first one is to our paying sponsor, Columbus Cuisine. That is our good friend Bobby, who is based in on Oahu, Hawaii. If you are interested in having him cater your event, any of your events, and you are in the Honolulu region, or even on Maui, Kauai, Lanai, or even the Big Island in Hilo area, just send me a message on Brandon Keeler on radio at gmail.com, and I'll send you ways to talk to him. Bobby's a really good friend of ours. I've known Bobby for 25 years now, almost 25 years. So yes, thank you to him for being our paying sponsor. Also, we wanted to let everybody know we are going to be posting the poll for everyone who voted for the next possible segment or segments to the show. It is going to be the bet for the 4 best. Shane, Ben, and Matt have to tell me their choices, and then I will put them on the poll, and then you guys vote. You tell us which could be the next possible segment or segments to the show. And also, we have a brand new member to the Sportz Nutz Network. We're really excited. As everybody knows, we are revamping the website, nuttysportstalk.com. We are going to have a spot where you actually get to see coverages of like sports reporting for high school, college, pro, whatever. And it's going to go from a wide variety of sports. Well, today, in fact, we introduced our newest member. He's going to be a sports reporter. He's based out of Weaverville, North Carolina. He is a good friend of ours, Ben Willis. His name is Sean Mallon. We are really excited to have him on. We are excited for what he is going to bring, what he is going to cover. But yes, he will not be on the show, but he will be an actual sports reporter. So you will get to see his work and everything. So stay tuned. NuttySportsTalk.com will be getting a revamp. It is there where you can watch the YouTube, but we're going to have a spot where you can watch all of our archived episodes of the Sportz Nutz, including live. You can watch all of our shorts. We have a spot for our team store. We're going to have a spot to potentially buy professionally done photos from our photographers who are joining us with that as well. Just a whole lot of stuff going on. Really excited for the growth that is transpiring. As you guys see in our little ticker there, we are on the verge of 10,000 subscribers. and we are forever thankful. We're on the verge of 1 million views, so we're rapidly growing, and it's all because of you guys. Thank you guys so much. This has been such a great episode. I want to give a shout out to our guy Tony for coming on. Shout out to everybody who tuned in tonight live, everybody who listened to us on the radio stations that we air on, and everybody who will tune in the coming days, as well as our international audience. It really does mean the world to us. Excuse me. So if you can, please help us continue to grow by sharing our content with everybody on your friends list. Now, here's a list. Here is a look of the upcoming episodes. Episode 223 will be Friday, May the 1st. This is a very powerful, special episode. You will see all of us. Everybody will be here. But we are joined by the former president of the University of Hawaii. His name is Ben Jay. This is really exciting. The last time I'll tell you this, the last time I talked to him was 2010, 2011. So it's going to be good to catch up with an old friend. Then episode 224, May the 4th, Monday, May the 4th. May the 4th be with you. Yes, our good friend John, as you guys saw tonight, will be joining us on the Pitts Grid. And also, this is going to be a first time for the Sportz Nutz. An MLS team is coming on. Yes, Ethan Herzig, he is the PA announcer for FC Cincinnati. He is joining us, and we are beyond thrilled and honored that he has decided to take time out of his schedule to come talk to us. And then episode 225 will be Wednesday, May the 6th. Marcus Mack is back. We always have a good time with Marcus. And then episode 226, Friday, May 8th, Brian Atkins, the PA announcer for Furman University, is going to join us. We have even more guests coming soon. Make sure, if you guys can, please subscribe and follow all of our socials and have your notifications turned on because you don't want to miss a moment of what the show has going on and the updates that are coming. And with that being said, for everybody who tuned in, everybody who interacted with the show tonight, and for our good friend Tony, Shane, also, while you're giving your final goodbyes, let everybody know that you are working on trying to book a guest from a certain sport that you talked about. Go ahead, Shane.
Oh yeah, well, as always, the Sportz Nutz, we're trying to gain interest from different sports. Brandon is the hockey guru. Matt basketball, Ben in football. But I really enjoyed NASCAR, and so we're reaching out, trying to get some people that cover NASCAR fully and better than us amateurs. But we're trying to get them on and get some insight. Hopefully when we do hear something, we'll let you guys know, and you guys can join. Hopefully enjoy some great conversation. But man, as always, me and my family, we appreciate all the prayer warriors out there for my sister. Hopefully we'll get something figured out here soon. But as always, may the good Lord bless you. Peace, love, and bacon grease.
Peace, love, and bacon grease, indeed. As Matt always tells you guys, the weekend is coming up, and it's funny, he has to look and make sure that it is the weekend coming up. But yes, the weekend is coming up. You're going to want to partake in some adult beverages, and if that's the case, don't drive. If you're going to drink, either call a ride share, stay at home, or better yet, don't drink. Don't get flagged in the game of life, because if you do, you're going to get the police behind you, and when you get those whoops, you're in trouble. So, and as Ben always tells you, love each other, and thank you guys again for the support. It really does mean the world to us. And as I always say to you, peace up, A-Town down. Why? It's the greatest sports city there ever was. Hey, you guys have a fantastic rest of your evening. Have a great week. We will be back with you on Friday. Remember, guys, make sure you guys are there, because Ben Jay is a very good, actually great friend of ours. And we're really excited and honored that, and this is from John saying, been praying for you and your family. But we are beyond blessed that Ben Jay is coming on. Until then, you guys, you have a fantastic evening, and we'll talk to you on Friday. Enjoy this outro. Goodbye.